Hey guys, if you notice a little quality discrepancy in the audio for this week's episode, it's because this recording shouldn't even really exist. During production of episode 2, Jon's video and audio feeds stopped recording after 23 minutes. Thankfully, we were able to access a cloud recording of Jon's session and we managed to salvage the episode. Anyway, sorry for the less than perfect audio this time around. Secondly, I just wanted to shout out our first official Movie Time with the Boys podcast hater, Gary. Gary is our old friend from Wales and he is now dead to us. This one's for you, buddy. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Movie Time with the Boys, fresh off the worldwide success of episode 1, which is widely well received by my parents, co-workers, and a few friends.
Thank you to all 6 of you.
Actually, we had a few reviews. This one's from my stepmom, who said, I really enjoyed the podcast, Luke. There were some laugh out loud moments. I love that Brian Blessed and Uri Geller got a mention.
Yep, you had some strong opinions on those. Yep, wrong opinions, sorry, I meant wrong opinions on those.
And I had a good review from my friend Alex as well, who said, yeah, it's good, mate.
Another solid review. Perfect. I love it.
Yep. Just a brief recap on what we're trying to achieve here on Movie Time with the Boys. We watch a movie that neither of us have ever seen, usually a brand new movie. We'll keep our opinions to ourselves until we record the podcast, and then we will discuss it, say if we liked it. We're not trying to drag it out into an hour and a half long podcast. It'll be pretty concise, 30 to 40 minutes for every episode. So Jon, how's your week been this week?
Fairly bland, to be honest. Just preparing to fly home the end of this week, so just getting my shit together for that. The only other thing that's really happened this week is there's been a baby robin trying to learn to fly in the back garden, and Seymour's trying to eat it. So that's another near animal death for this episode. Yourself?
My week's been fine. It's been kind of dominated by sports. Won't get into that on here though, but hockey's fun. It's very stressful though.
When I was a boy, my mother used to tell me a story of a demon king and his army. They brought fire and terror to the land until they faced the protector of the people, the white monkey.
There you are.
So this week we're reviewing Monkey Man, written and directed by Dev Patel and produced by Jordan Peele, co-produced, I guess. Here's IMDb's synopsis of the plot. An anonymous young man who ekes out a meager living in an underground fight club where, night after night, wearing a gorilla mask, he is beaten bloody by more popular fighters for cash. After years of suppressed rage, Kid discovers a way to infiltrate and enclave the city's sinister elite. As a child trauma boils over, his mysteriously scarred hands unleash an explosive campaign of retribution to settle the score with the men who took everything from him. So Jon, we both had time to watch Monkey Man now. Give me your brief thoughts on what you thought of this.
So I'm fresh off viewing it. I only watched it today a few hours ago. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Good kind of vengeance, one-man army flick. Digged it. Yourself?
I thought it was great, in a word. I haven't seen John Wick, and everyone tells me it's just like John Wick. I kept hearing the Indian John Wick, but having never seen that, I thought this was incredible. It was mind-blowing from start to finish for me.
Question 1. How have you not seen John Wick?
I don't know. It's never struck me as something to watch.
Amazing.
It started churning out sequels and it just put me off, I guess.
Say it, but the first one is great. You should probably watch that.
I will. We'll get on that. Maybe we'll do it for a rewatchable episode of Movie Time with the Boys. So what are some of the things you liked about it?
So I enjoyed some of the camera work, especially within the fight scenes and such. It was good that they were using like a lot of kind of one shots to a degree. I loved a lot of the color that they used throughout the city and a lot of the shots. It was very neon based and looked very good in some of the shots. And some of the cinematography was great in places as well.
Yeah, I agree. The neon was very Blade Runner for me. Kind of reminded me of that. I really enjoyed the fight scenes as a whole. I thought the fight scene in the elevator was incredible. I don't want to get into it too much now, but the fight scene towards the end is mind-blowing. But yeah, we can talk about that in a little bit.
Cool.
I like the fact that Dev Patel as a hero, or his character, gets his ass kicked throughout the entire movie. And it's not until the end that he really becomes like a strong kind of hero character. Reminds me of, you ever see Kick-Ass?
Yeah.
Where it's a little more realistic, where the hero is not just like beating everyone up, he's not winning every fight. It's like more get your ass kicked, learn from it, come back stronger.
Yeah, that's a bit of a trope within these movies as well, that they, you can't just have him winning the whole time. It's a redemption arc. They go in, they fight, they win a couple, you learn to warm the character, and then he gets his ass beat, then he nearly dies. Then someone teaches him a lesson. Then he's strong. Then he wins.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how all of these movies go, including John Wick. There we go. I've spoiled it for you.
Yeah, there we go. I probably need to watch that. I really liked how they linked it to this ancient kind of Indian story about Hanuman, the monkey man.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that all came into play. I did think I would like to have seen the mask more, because I thought that was very cool. Whenever he had that mask on, it was like he became a different character.
Yeah, I assumed it'd be more mask work as well, especially because he's directing it. So I thought it would have been like an easier way for him to direct, because then he can just have somebody else as lead actor with a mask on, and then be much easier for him to direct.
Yeah. There is that part towards the end, before the final kind of showdown, I guess, where he's walking down the alley with the mask on, the white mask, after just bleaching it, and then immediately takes it off. And you don't see the mask again.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. They showed the significance of him bleaching the mask as if he's becoming a new person, wears it for all of 6 seconds, then chucks it off.
Yeah, throws it in the alley. Bit of a bummer. What do you think of the soundtrack, John? Because that was one of the best soundtracks that I've personally heard in the movie in a long time.
Yeah, it was good. So I enjoyed, like, there was a mix of things on there. There was a couple of bumping beats, a couple of hip-hop type songs as well that kicked in, and then a weird chuggy rock one at the end, which kind of caught me off guard, but it worked quite well with it. Did you read anything into the soundtrack at all?
Not at all. I've listened to it a few times on Spotify, but that's it.
Nice. Because as you mentioned earlier, Jordan Peele, producer on this, he picked it up afterwards. So like this was originally going to go to streaming, but then he bought the rights to it wherever and wanted it to be a theatrical release. And with part of that as well, they got a new composer on, so they got different music for it compared to the original release. So it's a little tidbit for you.
Oh, okay. So they completely rescored it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
I really like the characters in this movie as a whole. I thought Alfonso, played by Pito Bash, was hilarious. I wish he was in it more. He's not in it enough. He's only in it. Good. I feel like he's in the first 2 acts of the movie, and then you don't really see him after that. It's kind of a shame. No. And also Ashwini Kalaskar as Queenie. She was just horrible. She's badass. Just a horrible person, and she played it so well. Charlotte Copley, who played Tiger, the ringmaster in the Underground Fight Club. I didn't realize who that was until afterwards. Someone told me it was the guy from District 9. And then I was like, oh, it's Vickers from District 9, huh?
Yeah. I was sat next to Em, and instantly, as soon as he came on screen and started speaking, she was like, oh, you fucking prawn. I was like, yep.
That guy is so typecast by District 9.
Yep. Sikander Kher as the Rana, the police chief.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was pretty badass. He had like the full-on kind of 80s villain smoking a cigarette and just throwing it away kind of badass vibes, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, and the small amount of Bollywood scenes that I've seen, he is just like the villains in that. He played that part excellently, I thought. I really, really enjoyed the training montage before the final scene.
With the drums.
The little drum thing going on.
Yeah, that was good.
That was very cool.
Punching rice and doing some drums.
Yeah. I also like that they didn't have Dev Patel as this super buff dude. He was just like skinny and lean. It was like what I could be if I really tried hard.
And I don't mean to laugh in your face right now, but I am.
He's a poster boy for the skinny man.
He was ripped in it, but like he cited some of his favorite kind of films and martial artists and all that as kind of like the Bruce Lee ones. Mm-hmm. And if you see Bruce Lee when he's got his shirt off and he's got his wings out, he's just skinny ripped and it's terrifying.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, it's not like
Patel, though, when he's holding those 2 water jugs and you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
My arms be ripping off by now.
It's not like the Dwayne Johnsons and the John Cena of 2024, I guess.
No, he's not too fast or too furious.
Yeah. I really liked how they included the Hijra community in India, which is the transgender community. I thought having them kind of help Kid. Is he called Kid throughout the movie at all? Because I never heard that once.
So he's never actually called Kid. He's just known as Kid throughout the story. He's never nameless, essentially. He's a nameless protagonist.
Okay, that makes sense. He does call himself Benny at one point because of the... Is it Benny?
He calls himself Bobby, because of the bleach powder.
The bleach powder, yeah. Anyway, I liked how the Hijra community kind of took him in and they worked together and then they ended up being like the heroes with him at the end.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was a nice change of pace throughout. It was nice to actually include that bit of culture within there as well, which I presume is barely shown anywhere else. Yeah,
it was awesome. Okay, what are some of the things that you didn't like about the movie?
So it's not that I didn't like. I think it's been done 1,000 times now. There's loads of one-man army films. Watch any Jason Statham film, and they're all one-man armies. Your John Wick films, all just kind of that kind of trope that they follow through, and it just follows that beat by beat, which is fine. But they do it well, which is it's good. It's just another one to add to those lists. I like John Wick. I watched The Beekeeper. That was hilarious. It just follows that kind of beat by beat of one-man army fighting up a building, like the Raid type thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Been done 1,000 times, yeah.
I'm going to defend it a little here because I thought showing a whole new culture that a lot of the world doesn't really give a chance. I listened to a couple of podcasts like right after watching the movie, other reviews just to see what they thought of it. And this one podcast that I won't name just ripped on the country of India, saying how they wouldn't go there and they really captured how disgusting it was on camera. And I didn't see that at all during the movie. I thought it was fantastic. It was really nice to see a different culture, a different setting.
He was arguing the whole socio-political problems within India.
Yeah, exactly. It was really well done. I liked how he included
I think that kind of went over their heads on that one. Jesus.
Yeah, big time. So I didn't really like a lot of the camera work towards the beginning of the movie. Okay. All the shaky cams and everything. The shaky cam was really like hard to get behind and it didn't keep me focused. I actually felt kind of sick watching it. But then towards the end, it gets better and better. And I read afterwards that it was on purpose that they did that. They had the camera shaky when he wasn't trained, when he was during his fight scenes. And then towards the end, it becomes more stabilized because he's more like clued in and more, his reflexes are better. So unbelievable for them to do that.
That's cool.
It's a risk.
Smart idea.
Yeah, it's a risk because a lot of people were like, this ruined it for me. But for me now, I know that fact, which a lot of people don't, I guess. That's impressive to me to even think about including that.
Smart. I love it. There's so it didn't bother me as much at all. There's some scenes that while watching, I was like, oh, damn, that's pretty cool. There's a shot where he is running away for the first time, going down the set of stairs, and it's like first person.
Yeah.
Fuck, what am I looking
FPS.
For? It's like from his POV. Like he goes down a couple of steps, kicks one guy, and still at his POV, and then he gets hit in the face. Yeah. And it's so good because the POV stays there, but he moves away from it. So it's as if like he knocked out of the camera. It's so good. I love that shot. I was like, that was cool.
It's really cool. A lot of those action fight scenes are just so well shot.
Yeah.
Something else that I didn't like, which you may have noticed, is a tiny little thing, because there's a lot that I did like about this movie. When he's running away from the cops the first time and he's running across a rooftop, and all of a sudden it's just the worst CGI that I've ever seen of a figure running across a roof. And it's only like a second or two long, but it just looks so...
up on that.
Yeah, it looks really bad. We already mentioned it, but Alfonso, he was such a good character, and I wish they'd showed him more, so I guess that's another thing that I didn't like. His Nicki Minaj tuk-tuk car was...
Yeah, that was solid. Enjoyed that. His intro was pretty good as well, when he just comes up to him and like offers him kind of every drug under the planet.
Yeah.
To see what he's about. It was a good intro.
Yeah, he's a good character.
Yeah, funny.
One more thing that I noticed that I didn't like, it's not that I didn't like it, it's a plot hole, is when he is running away from the cops during that scene again, and he jumps off that structure into the water, and then all of a sudden wakes up in the Hijra commune. Like, how does that happen? There's a whole section of film there that somehow he was scooped out of the water or washed down river and somehow ends up in this place.
That's not a plot hole or anything. That's just something that happens. They're not going to show scene by scene. It's already a 2-hour movie that you're complaining about, and you want him to show him pull him out of the water, put him in a taxi drive 20 minutes to the new place. It's another half hour on this 2-hour film already that you complained was too long.
I just think there was things they could have cut and maybe showed that transition to one place to another place a little more clear. Because I wasn't sure if he was like, I wasn't sure if it was a dream scene or if it was like a real scene that was happening for the first like 5 minutes.
I understood what was going on. He was saved from the water. I've seen films before where people land in water, then all of a sudden they've saved because water is safer than landing in the middle of a road.
Yeah, but they usually wash up on a bank or something. He's just like in a comfy bed. Like, how did that happen? I guess we'll agree to disagree on this one.
Yes.
So my final thing for things that I didn't like is how they seemingly kill him at the end, the main character, because I feel like this is such a good, it's such a good origin story for like a superhero, like a Batman type superhero. And now there's going to be no more because he's dead, even though I think this is left wide open for a sequel.
Did I miss something? Did he die at the end? I can't.
Yeah,
I genuinely cannot recall the ending right now.
Yeah, after he gets stabbed by Baba Shakti and then stabs him in the head with that shoe thing or that pin, whatever it is, and then he just kind of falls at the end. So it's pretty obvious to me that he died.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you not see him as dead?
Not only can I not remember what happens after he fucking stabs Baba Shakti of this film I watched, but 3 hours ago. But yeah. In my head, he wasn't dead, so maybe I didn't see him as dead.
I guess it was kind of ambiguous. He kind of falls to the ground, but his eyes kind of roll back a bit, and you don't see him on the ground. So I guess if they really wanted to churn out a sequel to it, they could, and I think they should.
I hope they don't, though. I hope they don't. I think it should be a one and done. I think it's good as is because his story's told. The two people he wanted to kill was Baba Shakti and the police sergeant. And he's done that now. I understand that he is a protagonist for the poor and depraved people,
the underdogs,
and such. But he's got his redemption arc is complete.
I guess so.
Yeah, he's learned his lesson that he should have a reason to fight. Found his reason, moved some fools, pop back into his house, have a cup of tea.
Yeah, as usual. You're probably right, as usual.
It's just an opinion.
It's a little more general discussion about the movie. I think it's such a good movie, and it's such a long movie. Actually, surprisingly long. We probably should have put this in the things that I didn't like section, but the length of the movie, I feel like, although I enjoyed it, I think they could have cut a good chunk from it. At the beginning, I didn't really know what was happening. And it wasn't until like a half hour in that you're like, okay, this guy's looking for revenge on whatever atrocity had happened to him. So I was left a little confused up until that point. It took a while to get into it. So I just think they could have shaved like 15, 20 minutes off the film, made it like an hour and a half. It would have been a little better. All right, so there's a few things that I read about this movie after watching it. I don't read the trivia until after the movie, John, because I don't want to ruin it for myself. I read that they used cell phones and GoPros a lot during little scenes when their budget was gone, and they were filming during COVID-19, by the way. I forgot to mention that. This was filmed during COVID in Indonesia on a little island. Anyway, they were filming with GoPros and cell phones, which kind of blew my mind.
It didn't stand out to me that they weren't using like normal kind of digital cameras or anything. So
exactly,
it worked well.
In an interview afterwards with Dev Patel, that I watched so many things about this movie since, because I was honestly obsessed with it for a few days. In an interview, he said during the rickshaw crash scene, his old iPhone was mounted on the dashboard so he could get just the swing-in ornament in his windscreen when they crashed. Jesus. So just little shots like that. It's pretty crazy that they used iPhones for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What do you have for trivia?
As with good old action films, Dev, he suffered a few injuries while filming. He's got a broken hand, two broken toes, torn shoulder, and somehow an eye infection.
Did you hear how he got the eye infection?
No, I didn't.
So there's one scene where he's fighting in the bathroom. It's like the first fight scene he's in with what's his name, the police chief.
Yep.
He's fighting in the bathroom, and they're crawling around on the floor apparently for days. And that's when he got the eye infection. So it was just like an unclean bathroom of people stamping around in it. As far as I could tell from his story anyway, it just sounded like he got a bad case of pink eye.
Jesus. I love in that fight scene when he trips up the one guy and it just face hits the toilet. It's howl and sound, and it just freaks me out. I loved it.
Yeah, it's incredible. So as you mentioned before, Netflix originally owned the rights to this movie, and for some reason thought it was a non-starter. And Jordan Peele offered, through his company, Monkey Paw Productions, to buy the movie and its rights, and they sold it, thankfully. And then we were blessed with this amazing movie.
Yeah, it's good. It was nice that Jordan Peele saw it and wanted to actually give it a theatrical release instead of just going straight to streamers.
Yeah, good old JP. So one thing I read is during the filming of the scene where his mother is attacked and dies, they edited that heavily. They cut out a big scene where she was actually assaulted by the police chief, which I think, honestly, I didn't think the film needed that. I think it's good that they cut it out, but watching it, I could notice it was cut. Like all of a sudden, something happened you didn't see, and then it was over. But I do think it's a good decision that they decided to cut it out.
Yeah, I agree. From reading that as well, it looks like that was in the original cut, and then obviously they got certain censors and stuff. It still works without that scene in it. I think it still portrays everything bad that happened to his family and all of the people on that land. It's not something else you want to see. Would bum you out even more, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, John, I got a new section for you. It's called Who Did It Better? Working title. We're going to work out something better than that. I'm going to ask you a scenario from the movie and compare it with a scenario from another, either real life event or movie. And you're going to tell me what did it better, the movie or the other thing. So number one, the best depiction of Diwali, was it Monkey Man or was it Michael Scott in The Office?
I knew you were going to do The Office. I mean, in Monkey Man, you just see a couple of fireworks and not much else to represent Diwali. In The Office, you see a full party and a song about Diwali. So I'm going to go with Michael Scott in The Office.
All right, cool. Love that. Number two, best fight scene with a shoe. Was it in Monkey Man or was it George Bush dodging the shoe that got tossed at him?
Comedic value, I'll go with George Bush. More painful value, I'll go with Monkey Man.
Cool. Good answers. Number three, the best death scene with an axe. Was it Monkey Man or was it Halloran from The Shining?
How does he die with an axe in both films? That's my issue.
So the axe in this is when he fights that brothel owner and bites his nose off.
I remember, yeah.
And then no, it's not even him. It's the one that's walking across the scene unsuspecting and just kicks an axe.
Yeah, I love that.
And Halloran, he travels all the way to the Overlook Hotel in The Shining, and then as soon as he walks through the door, gets an axe in the back.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with Monkey Man just for the surprise axe to the throat hit.
Yeah, and also what was that guy doing just walking across the scene during an axe fight?
It's clearly a guy swinging an axe here. Don't go throwing your neck around.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Number 4. The best use of a rickshaw in entertainment. Was it Monkey Man or was it Crazy Taxi?
Crazy Taxi. Hands down.
Final answer.
No further questions.
I agree. All right. Who do you think won the movie? Who do you think is the best actor or best actors? You don't just have to name one. It can be multiple. Who do you think had a good?
Okay, cool.
A good outing. Yeah.
Dev was good as like a kind of silent protagonist. Obviously, he doesn't have many lines throughout, but portrays his anger, fear, etc. in his face. Did that well. Alphonse was the great comic relief. And the chief of police, Rana, was great as well. As I said, he had that kind of 80s action bad guy smoking cigarettes while looking cool kind of look to him. Yeah, overall, all winners. No kind of bad eggs throughout it. I didn't dislike anyone's performance.
Cool. Yeah, I'd agree with all your choices. The only person I would add is Queenie, the character. I thought she was just brutal, like really funny, just a horrible person. And I think Ashwini Khaskar played her very well.
Yeah, there's one sentence that she says in Hindi, because I believe that's the language they speak throughout, is in Hindi, when she's on the phone with someone, and she says, "What are you currently doing other than standing on my shoulder, pissing in my ear?" which I thought was a fantastic line.
Yeah, she's full of one-liners.
Yeah,
she really knocked it out of the park. I guess if I had to pick a winner, it'd be Dev Patel, just for acting the way he did and directing and co-writing this thing.
And producing and writing the theme tune and singing the theme tune.
Yeah, it was great. So I think we're both in agreement that there's no real actors that we would cut from the film. I thought everyone did a great role. There are definitely a few little scenes I would cut, or a few sections I would cut out. How about you? What do you think this film could get it out?
As you mentioned earlier, I think in some places it does go on a bit. I think it could probably be chopped down a little bit. Nothing overly to mind is coming through, but I think which is stupid to say that, nothing comes to mind, but I think you should chop it down. You sound like a terrible producer there. But yeah, I think some of the scenes linger a bit long, and he's sometimes going a bit too artsy on some of the shots, which I enjoyed, but they could linger for too long, and obviously too much pretension is not needed for a punching people in the face flick.
Yeah. There was a part that has I think it's the leader or the prime minister of India. I'm really not sure what they're.
Are you on about Baba Shak?
No, not
the
Baba
other guy.
He's like the
remember's name.
He's like the president or something, but he's mentioned in he owns the cops and stuff, and they all kind of
Deshi Joshi, maybe. I can't remember his character name, but he's it's very brief that you see him, and he's other than Baba Shakti, other than Baba Shakti, he's the political figure who has this corrupt police on his payroll, and Baba Shakti on his payroll, I guess. Although Baba Shakti becomes a higher religious figure and has a much bigger following. But I just thought it was strange how they kind of just threw that guy in, the political guy at the end. I don't know why they just didn't keep Baba Shakti as a political figure. Yeah, I get that. But I think it's because Baba Shakti is seen as a spiritual leader type thing. And I don't think that you can transition that person also as a politician. Those kind of two don't cross in my mind, but
church and state.
Yeah,
I guess so. Also at the beginning of the movie, I think there's way too many throwback scenes of his mother. I think you kind of just beaten over the head with that. Something bad happened, but we're not going to tell you what it is until way later in the movie. So they could have cut that down a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, it's a story building to a degree. It's showing his whole childhood, and it begins with the story of I can't remember the monkey man's name.
Haruman, I think.
Yeah, and I think that was a good lead into the film with the whole him reaching for a mango turns out to be the sun type thing. That was a cool story.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to show because Dev Patel doesn't speak throughout, does he? So you just got to show this horrendous trauma that he's been through over and over to try and berate you with it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can shorten that down because you can clearly see he's been through some shit.
Yeah.
So final thoughts on this one. As I said, I enjoyed it. It was a kind of one-man army film. There's plenty of them out there that do it great as well, like John Wick, The Raid, and The Raid 2. Love those movies. Check those out if you haven't. Good film. Enjoyed. Would watch again. Good fight scenes. Good axe to throats.
You got a score?
1 axe to the throat.
Out of?
1 axe to the throat, yeah. How about you?
All right, my final thoughts. I, again, love this movie. I've been criticized for loving every movie, but it just turns out there's 2 movies in a row now.
May I just interject it? You've been criticized for loving both movies.
Yeah.
You've talked about 2 movies.
No, I've been criticized in life about loving every movie. I have something good to say about every movie, even though I hated it. Even though if I've hated a movie, I'll still find something I like about it.
Can you give us some examples of this, please, and tell me about a movie that is universally disliked that you liked?
I really like Battle Los Angeles.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I hear it's terrible.
It's trash. It's a trash movie, but I really liked it because it's just like a nostalgic feeling when I think of that movie about nothing in particular. I just really enjoyed it at the time.
Cool. Now I can't make fun of you for it. Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Anyway, back to this one. I really liked it. I loved the soundtrack. I loved how it was filmed, especially after finding out that they did the shaky cam on purpose. So everyone who has criticized that on other pods can kick rocks. I love the acting. I thought the characters were fantastic. The one part of CGI is something that I didn't like. That was very brief. The minor plot hole where he falls into the river and then turns up in the Hydra commune. Dumb, but we'll get past that. Love the fight scenes. Thought the villains were fantastic. I have nothing really terribly bad to say about this movie, other than it was a little too long. Would have cut some smaller scenes. That's it. Strong 9 out of 10 for me.
Nice. Cool. So that wraps up episode 2 of Movie Time with the Boys. Thank you for all the listening again. You can find us on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Anyway, you can find podcasts. I lied, actually. It's just Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
You can find us on Instagram at Movie Time with the Boys. On YouTube, just search Movie Time with the Boys. It should come up. Same with Spotify, same with Apple Podcasts. If you really wanted to, and we don't want any junk mail, is email us at movietimewiththeboysmail@gmail.com.
Yeah, so for episode 3, I don't think we've chosen a film just yet, and I'll be away next week as I'm flying back to UK for a little short while. If you have any suggestions, as Luke said, hit us up. And f*** you, Gary.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have one new voicemail message from
Gareth from Wales. Oh, great. One time it's got to go to voicemail list for this, innit? For God's sake. Hey, Luke, how's it going? I'm just ringing you up for a quick chat, just to ask a quick favour. I can't believe we're going to be seeing this. Can I be on your podcast next week, please? Because I think it'll be really good exposure for my podcast. Bye.